2011.
So he was born on May the 15th in 1940, and he hails from Imbwa village in Kalabo district of the Western Province, where he started school in 1949 at Mukola Primary School, and he completed Standard 2 in 1953.
Shortly, you'll be able to see the Honorable Madam Speaker's procession making way to the chamber, and later on we'll be able to showcase the arrival of the funeral cortege carrying the body of the Honorable Musa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, GCDS, former Speaker of the National Assembly and Cabinet Minister of the Republic of Zambia. We all know that the Republican President did declare today as national mourning in respect to the right Honorable Speaker, the former Speaker of the National Assembly. So all entertainment programs have been cancelled or postponed, and flags are flying at half-mast in honor of the man's life that we celebrate today. That's Honorable Musa Katunda Mwanamwambwa.
And just to mention also that he did proceed to middle school, where he completed Standard 4 in 1956, and thereafter he did move to Lukona Upper Primary School, where he did complete Standard 6 in 1958. And during the same year, he went to Mongo Secondary School, where he completed Form 2 in 1960, and thereafter he did enroll at Munali Secondary School, where he completed Form 6, that's A level, in 1964. Posted mentioned that Munali, has actually produced quite prominent people here in Zambia.
Yes, great people that have passed through Munali Secondary School, and the likes of the former First Republican President, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, did pass, and a number of notable people that have passed through that school. It's like if you didn't go to Munali, then you are not a Zambian back then.
Absolutely. So that all happened in 1964, and then in 1965, the Right Honourable Speaker went to Middlebury College, Vermont, in the United Kingdom, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science. That was in 1969, and in 1975 he went to Bradford University, West Yorkshire in the UK, where he graduated with a diploma in tourism and planning.
So the man that we mourn today became Speaker of the National Assembly for the 9th and 10th of National Assembly in 1998, after serving as MMD Member of Parliament for you. And today we do see Honorable Dr. Stumbeko Musokotwani serving that seat, and it's got a strong attachment to the Mwanamwambwa family, like we heard from the widow Claudette when we went to cover, and we did have a brief interaction with her, where she was sharing the life when they were very close, still close, with the current finance minister. And when he retired as Speaker of the National Assembly, we did see some of the members of Parliament that did debate to the motion, and the likes of Honorable Sylvia Masebo, who is Health Minister, did debate. We also saw Honorable Charles Milupi, who is the Minister of Infrastructure and Urban Development, debating to that motion. That's way back in 1998. And that's Honorable Emmanuel Hachipuka of Mbabala constituency, debating to the motion the time he announced his retirement.
Absolutely. So the Right Honourable Mwanamwambwa will be given a befitting send-off today, a day that has been declared a day of national mourning. He's actually been accorded, a state funeral. So any time from now, we'll be having the Valedictory service taking place at 09 hours. We do expect the Speaker's procession to make its way in a few minutes from now. The House is almost full to capacity, as we have relatives to the late Speaker, and also other people that worked closely with him, all here to say bye-bye to this man who served the National Assembly from 1998 to 2011.
And Parliament Television and Parliament Radio will be on hand to give you live coverage, even at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross. We do have our colleagues that are stationed at Cathedral of the Holy Cross. That's Mr. Julius Msumali. And so those are the preparations going on after the valedictory service. The mourners will proceed to the church for that church service. And the church is expected to start somewhere around 10 to 11 hours there, and we expect a number of people attending, and even the general public will be accorded that opportunity to attend the church service. But before that, we'll have a valedictory service here at the National Assembly of Zambia, saying bye to the gallant son of the soil, and this is Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, GCDS, former Speaker of the National Assembly and the Cabinet Minister of the Republic of Zambia.
And during this service, we'll get to learn more about the history of the man we are bidding farewell today. We do expect speeches from the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Government Chief Whip, the Honorable Her Honor the Vice President, the Right Honorable Madam Nelly Muti, Speaker of the National Assembly. And in those speeches, we'll be able to know more about the Right Honorable Mwanamwambwa, who died on the 21st of October and is going to be put to rest today at his farm in Palabana.
All right, so I'd like to urge you to be with us on Parliament Television. Shortly we'll be able to see the Honourable Madam Speaker's procession making way to the chamber, and later on I will be able to show you the funeral cortege carrying the body of Honourable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly, arriving at Parliament buildings, and thereafter the valedictory service will begin. Like my colleague mentioned, we're able to hear the speeches from various government leaders, and also expected to hear a message from the leader of the opposition. It's also worth mentioning, Claudette, that the Republican Vice President did work with the late Speaker, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa. So I'm looking forward to just hear some of the experiences that they had together when they worked together in the MMG.
Absolutely. So after those speeches, we do expect the House to adjourn, and the casket will be taken to the main entrance of the chamber where body viewing will take place. And the body viewing will be led by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker and other presiding officers in the following order. That's Her Honour the Vice President will be followed by former presiding officers, Honourable Cabinet and Provincial Ministers, Honourable Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Deputy Government Chief Whip, and we also have the Honourable Patriotic Front Whip, the Honourable Independent Whip, and this will be followed by members of Parliament and former clerks of the National Assembly, and of course members of staff here at the National Assembly who have an opportunity to say bye to the man they worked under.
So the motion was moved last week on Friday to allow the House to sit in the morning and later on proceed to the cathedral, the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross to attend the church service, and later on the body is expected to be buried at his farm in Palavana. And quite a number of people have visited the funeral house and described the man that we mourn today as a gallant man who served the Republic of Zambia diligently.
And so we are waiting for the Speaker's procession to make way into the chamber, and that will actually signify the start of this ceremony. And as we await for that, we'll get back to the late Speaker's biography or history. He was appointed Information Attaché in the office of Zambia's Permanent Representative to the United Nations in New York, USA in 1972, and he was appointed Newspaper Manager for Zambia Information Services in 1972. And I'm sure with all these credentials, Paul said it was easy for him to be Minister of Information and Broadcasting because of his background. He was appointed Newspaper Manager for Zambia Information Services in 1972, and between 1972 and 1987, he did work for the Zambia National Tourist Bureau and the Zambia Tourist Board, rising from position of Chief Tourist Officer to Managing Director until retirement from public service. Again, I'm sure having had this experience, I think it was also smooth sailing for him to become Deputy Minister for Tourism.
Yes, Claudette, and this just confirms what we've been talking about, the passion, the love that he had for nature. That's the reason why it was very easy for him to be identified by the then Republican President, Dr. Frederick Chiluba, to appoint him as Minister of Tourism. like we see today. We do have beautiful sceneries at Parliament buildings, and we do have a variety of animals, and people do come here. Those who visit, they just go like, wow, not knowing that the man behind all this intervention was the man that we mourn today, the Right Honorable Speaker Musa Mwanamwamba, who we are going to put to rest today.
We're actually told from those that worked with him that he'll take time during his free time just to walk around the premises and, you know, just say hi to the animals. That's how close he was to nature, and just how much he valued, you know, nature. So those are just some of his attributes, like we've heard from people that worked closely with him here at the National Assembly. The Right Honorable Mwanamwamba did join the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy as a committee member on October 31st, 1991, and he was elected Member of Parliament for Liua. So he served as MP for Liua from 91 to 1998, and he took up appointment as a cabinet minister in the Ministry of Sport, Youth and Child Development in 1994. It's interesting to learn that he served in a number, like we mentioned, in a number of portfolios: Deputy Minister of Tourism, Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Legal Minister, Sports Minister, Youth and Child Development. Very, very interesting to learn.
Very, very interesting, Claudette, and I think that's the reason why it was very easy for him to settle as Speaker of the National Assembly, because he interacted with quite a number of ministries. So he did understand the operations of various ministries as Speaker of the National Assembly. And in November 1998, he resigned his cabinet portfolio as well as his parliamentary seat just before his election as Speaker of the National Assembly. He then retired Speaker in 2011, and he married to Mrs. Catherine Ndwaninofu for Mwanamwamba, and they have 3 daughters.
All right, so despite retiring in 2011, he still offered his services here at the National Assembly of Zambia. I remember vividly persons in 2021, when the new government was ushered in, the UPND was ushered in, there was a orientation for the week for members of parliament, and the late speaker was actually in this chamber, you know, orienting members of parliament about the do's and don'ts as they were coming in as new members of parliament. So he still continued to render service even after retiring as Speaker.
Not only that, and we did quite a number of times, we heard and we witnessed the current Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Madam Nelly Muti, frequenting, visiting Honorable Musa Mwanamwamba. Though it wasn't not too well, but could go and interact and just to exchange notes and also share his best experience as Speaker of the National Assembly and transfer the knowledge to the current Speaker that we have. So he was very passionate about legislative matters in the country. No wonder he wrote quite a number of publications talking about our parliament and how business is conducted in the House. That's the reason why when we did see the election of the new government in office, the United Party for National Development, Parliament, looking at the wealth that Honorable Musa Mwanamwamba has, did invite him just to come and orient members of Parliament on what goes on the floor of the House. You know, when members of Parliament do come to Parliament for the first time, there are a lot of challenges: how to settle, how to raise points of order, and what is expected of them as members of Parliament and as a representative of people out there. So that's the reason why this man that we celebrate his life today, the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. Musa Mwanamwamba, is being remembered, and all the good things that he contributed to the country Zambia today.
All right, so it's going to be a long day today after the valedictory service. The funeral procession will move to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross, where the church service will take place, and the burial will then follow at his farm at Palabana in Chongwe. And so we will bring to you live pictures of the church service at the Anglican Cathedral. And of course, after all has been done, we do expect a full package of what will have transpired today to run here on Parliament television.
It's very important, Claudette, for the people that might have missed the clip that we played earlier on, maybe to engage our director and just to run through what is what transpired when the Speaker of the National Assembly was elected. That was in 1998, and the speech that he gave, and that's a speech of acceptance. If that clip is ready, we request that our viewers will be able to watch that clip and what really transpired in 1998. Let's just take a look at this if you missed that clip that we aired earlier on.
Jacket.
I now submit myself to the will of the House. My first duty to the House is to convey my respectful acknowledgements and my grateful thanks to all honorable members for the great honor you have conferred on me by placing me in the chair. I also wish to express my deep gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Works and Supply and the Honorable Member from Ford Parliament constituency for the kind and generous way in which they proposed and seconded my election as Speaker of this Honorable House. The office of Speaker is the highest honor that the Zambian Parliament can confer on one of its citizens. That honor, in my view, is greater than any other because the Speaker, more than anyone else, embodies the best traditions of the House and our democratic traditions.
There you have it. That happened in 1998 during his acceptance speech right here in the chamber. That's the late speaker actually taking oath in 1998. And after that occasion, he was taken to State House for the approbation. And Paulson, in that footage, we must also mention that it's coming your way courtesy of ZNBC. We thank you very much. It was interesting to see some interesting personalities in the chamber then in 1998.
Yes, I did. I was able to see Honorable Rudrik Sondashi there seated in the chamber, and quite a number of notable...
The late Ben Winga was also in there.
Yes.
Miss Edith Nawaki was also in there.
I also I was able to stretch my eyes and see the current health minister, and this is Honorable Sylvia Masewo, MP. We need, after the acceptance speech, speakers are expected to proceed to Parliament for approbation.
To State House.
To State House. This simply means like assent, like an approval, and they take an oath before the Republican president. And maybe we head to State House, we rewind our clocks and go to 1998 and see what really transpired during the approbation at State House. And indeed, that approbation before the second Republican president, and that was Dr. Frederick Jacob Titus Chiluba. Take a look at this.
Mwanamwambwa, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the President of the Republic of Zambia, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Zambia as by law established. So help me God. Do swear that I will well and truly serve the Republic and the President of Zambia, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the President and the Republic of Zambia, that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Zambia as by law established, and that I will not directly or indirectly reveal or transmit any such information or matter that shall be brought under my consideration or shall be made known to me by reason of my office, except as may be required in the discharge of my duties as such, or with the authority of the President. So help me God.
All right, live pictures are coming your way here on Parliament television as we await for the valedictory service in honor of the late Right Honorable Musa Mwanamwambwa. Family members, including the widow, are already here in the chamber, in the Speaker's Gallery, and of course we have other relatives and other invited guests to this occasion already seated, including some members of Parliament. And so in case you've just tuned in, we were just showing you clips from way back. That's in 1998 when the Speaker was sworn in as Speaker of the National Assembly. He served as Speaker of the National Assembly from 1998 to 2011. And so we did see him taking oath here in the chamber in 1998. And of course he did go for the approbation at State House. And as you can see on your screen, those are pictures coming from the Anglican Cathedral of the Cross. That's where the church service is going to take place immediately after the valedictory service is done here at National Assembly.
All right, and you did talk about the Speaker taking oath here at Parliament buildings when he was first elected as Speaker of the National Assembly, and later on proceeded to State House where he went for approbation. And we see notable faces, Claudette. I did see Honorable Edith Nawakwi in that clip, and also saw who later became Finance Minister, and that was Honorable Katele Kalumba in that clip. Quite a number of people did attend that State House 98.
And then in this Speaker's Gallery, we have in our midst the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Patrick Madipini, and we also have the First Deputy Speaker, former First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Ms. Kashri Namgala, and the former Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly.
Yes, there you have it. So those are some of the VIP guests that have arrived so far here at Parliament buildings, and later on we'll proceed to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross, where the church service is expected to take place, and later on the burial will take place at his Palabana farm right here in Lusaka, Chongwe district. And after the valedictory will be able to, members of parliament and all the invited guests will be accorded an opportunity to pay their last respect by body viewing at the entrance of parliament, and we'll see members of parliament paying their last respect and proceed to the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, where a church service is expected. Earlier on, we did show you some clips of what is going on. Guests have started arriving at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross Church. So there you have it. They're just waiting for the valedictory service to be done here, and we'll proceed to. And Parliament Television Radio will be on hand to broadcast live proceedings from the Anglican Cathedral.
So we did take time also to speak to former clerks of the National Assembly. These include Ms. Doris Mwinga and Mrs. Cecilia Mbewe. So we go straight to that clip and we'll be right back.
This is my story. This is my story.
I knew Mr. Mwanamamba when he came from the executive. He was a minister. In fact, he had occupied a lot of ministerial positions. When he came to Parliament, he found me. I was already at Parliament. And I was in the journal's office. I was acting, not acting, but working as journal's clerk and legal counsel at the same time. And when he came in, he was introduced to all the officers. I was journal's clerk dealing with procedure, and at the same time legal officer. So by my nature, I started frequenting his office to give opinions and so on. So that's what I know him. He was a humorous man. He loved being humble, and he was loving. But he was firm and strict, and he wanted to do everything in the right way. He succeeded in his work because although he was experienced, he was a diplomat at one time because he was in America and so on. And but he never looked down upon his officers. When he's given an opinion, he will do likewise. But first of all, as an officer, you have to do your work to ensure that what you're going to tell him is right. If not right, you will be embarrassed. He had a lot of experience, and that's what helped him. That experience he gained when he was a journalist, and he's a person who likes reading a lot, and as such, he became successful in work. He was a good Christian, devoted Christian, because we went to America at one time, and on a Sunday we were free. He said, let's go to church. So that's what I knew. That's how I knew that he was a Christian.
Firstly, I would like to say how sad I am that he's left us. To me, he was a father. But he was different when you were at work. His fatherliness ended when you were outside the office. Behind that smile, that cool disposition, that calmness that he always displayed, there was a very stern man behind it, inside there, a very firm person. He didn't tolerate any nonsense. He didn't tolerate any mistakes. He expected perfection from you whenever you have an assignment to do for him. I recall one time that he had asked me to prepare a statement for him, which he used to address a group of students who came to visit Parliament. I didn't have much time to prepare the statement. So I was in the middle of preparing it. I just saw him entering my office. Mr. Deputy Clerk, I'm ready to go and address the students. Where is my statement? He found me, fortunately, reading through it for mistakes. He said, it's fine, I'll take it the way it is. After the meeting, he didn't come to my office this time. He called me to the chambers. What I expected was to be scolded for delaying his work. But there he was. He says, congratulations. It was an excellent statement. You did a good job. I felt bad on my own for having let him down, and yet here he was, this calm man, praising me for the work that I did. He was that kind of person. What I remember him more about also is the way he pushed us when we were undertaking the reforms, especially for the opening of parliamentary offices for members of parliament. He was always with us. We would travel with him to this constituency, that constituency, here and there and everywhere. When we come back, he says, you guys are doing a good job for the MPs. These offices are going to serve them well. They will have a platform through which members of the public will bring their concerns. They will have a platform through which members of parliament will collect information that they will table in the House for the good of their constituencies. And he was there in the forefront, ensuring that this is done. And that program, through the Reforms Office, was done in record time. We had to source officers, we had to source transport for them, we had to source everything. But with his inspiration, with him behind us, we were able to do the job in the shortest possible time. That's the kind of man he was. He wanted to see results. He wanted to see work being done and done properly. It's a very big loss for us. I don't know whether I'll, in my personal life, find somebody like that to guide me, even as old as I am. But of course, there are certain things that you want to be done for you, and you need a father figure. My personal father is late, so I can't go to anybody else. When he was still alive, once in a while, I would call him and ask him for his advice. We would meet in some places where we both had common problems, and we would talk and talk and talk. And he was still the same old man that I knew when I was still working at Parliament. So he's the kind of man that I will miss so much. I do not know what else to say about him. He was just a great man.
I joined the National Assembly as clerk in 2002, and I was with Speaker Mwanamamba up to 2011, so 2 terms. I received his death with a sense of shock because I wasn't aware how sick he has been. And yeah, I just pray that God will be with his family, his dear wife, Mrs. Mwanamamba, and the children and grandchildren. He was a great human being. As Speaker of the National Assembly, he made sure that he always portrayed good leadership
both to the politicians and to us as members of staff. And one of his great tenets is that the legislature should do its job well. It should perform its functions well, with diligence. He was very particular about words, both to us as staff and to members of parliament. I think at one time people started calling us the Mwanamwambwa Academy because of his very specificity about the words you used and how you use them. And even with scrutiny of legislation, he made sure that we prepared the House to understand the legislation, and that's how the legal department began to grow, so that we explain the issues in any piece of legislation, the issues behind any motion, the issues behind any questions. And he always wanted everyone to show diligence in whatever you do. He didn't like haphazard work. So he expected the best from the ministers and from the ordinary members of parliament. He didn't want ministers to answer questions or to present issues where they are not well prepared. And he also didn't want members of parliament who ask questions which don't bring results, not only to themselves, also to the constituencies and to the nation as a whole. And one of his very important tenets was for us as staff and the presiding officers to always give everybody an opportunity to explain themselves. He was very strong on being impartial, that every side of the House had an opportunity to participate fully, so that when the House is making decisions, they make them from informed and well-researched perspective. So you can tell that from his rulings. You always had to do a lot of research in order for him to arrive at a ruling which would impact positively on the proceedings of Parliament.
My sincere and heartfelt condolences to the widow, our mother, Mama Catherine Mwanamwambwa, the children, and to the nation of Zambia, because the man we are mourning was one of the distinguished and visionary leaders that this country has had. The late speaker, Amusa Mwanamwambwa, was a man of many things, but I would describe him as a man of great repute, so to speak. He was a man of high integrity. He was a man who was transformational. As you know, the reforms that we are enjoying today in the National Assembly of Zambia were initiated under the leadership of the late Speaker Mwanamwambwa. You know, the late Speaker Mwanamwambwa took over from mighty Robinson Nabuliato, implying that he had to step in very big shoes, so to speak, because he took over from a man who is one of the longest and most experienced speakers in the Commonwealth parliamentary system. That is the late Robinson Nabuliato. But Speaker Mwanamwambwa fitted very well in those shoes. And I must say that he hit the ground running, because he came to Parliament at the time when the country had just transformed from a one-party state to a multi-party democracy. And what that meant was that relevant pieces of legislation, rules, standing rules of the House, parliamentary practices had to be aligned to the dictates or the demands of a multi-party democracy. And so it was a big task for the new speaker, but he was able to run with it. And I must say that some of the fruits of the parliamentary reform program in Parliament we are enjoying today were initiated under the leadership of Speaker Mwanamwambwa, whom we are mourning today. It was not a simple process, in that, you know, normally people don't like change. And particularly, some of the changes which had to inevitably come around were those which could not favor the executive. But Speaker Mwanamwambwa was unwavering on matters of principle. He would ensure that what needed to be done was done. So on that, I highly commend him, because he was quite firm, so to speak, and he would not compromise on principle.
On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, your family, just like you mentioned, we are really sorry that our good man has gone to join the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, we are going to miss him, and we value the work that he did at Parliament. He left a lot of good works there at Parliament, and even the buildings we normally see the name Amusa Mwanamwambwa and so many other things. So now it's like, wow, is it a dream that the person is not there, but the name, it will live on and on for a long time. Our children, great-grandchildren, the next generation, they are going to hear about this great man and the works that he did, and also the love for nature. I remember one time I was walking around, and then she says, "Oh, the Honorable Mwanamwambwa was so dear to the animals that you see around, because he took time just to even look at them, you know, nurture them in a special way." Yeah, so
driving me crazy
Yes,
sometimes.
yes. So really, Ma'am, we are so sorry, and we are with you. National Assembly of Zambia is with you. This trying moment, we know it's not easy, but we know the Lord will take care of everything, so that the passage, the transition would be so smooth.
As clerk of the National Assembly, just to join our first deputy speaker in conveying on behalf of my colleagues here with me and others at the office our condolences to the family, of course to our uncle as well, and to you, Ma'am, and our sisters on this bereavement.
We owed the dear man in very high esteem. Like he mentions, a number of things were done at Parliament during his tenure. We can credit him with so many things, among them the reform agenda. I think that he took the reforms at Parliament like a storm. Most of the establishments that we have, the constituency offices, Parliament Radio, Parliament TV, the Visitor Center, and many other reforms can be traced to the reform agenda that he started when he just took over. So we are very grateful for the legacy that he has left. We will miss him, and I think that what he has left, I think for us as staff, it's something that we can carry on. We have also conveyed the message of condolences to our colleagues in the SADC region. So with these few remarks, ma'am, we just want to thank you for receiving us.
We've lost an elder brother. Such a wonderful company, you know. Such a wonderful person.
Definitely going to miss him a lot.
Yeah. He was so committed to Parliament, even after I left.
Yes, yes.
It was just in his blood.
Yeah.
It was in his blood. He was an ardent supporter.
Legislation.
This family, as you see, has served this country with distinction. This has been a family of extreme selflessness in terms of what had to place at the disposal of this country. And so we are devastated. The judiciary, it's just that there was short notice, many people, as the things unfold, will keep coming to come and pay their last respect. And we thought that we should be here at this time to join all of you in mourning the retired speaker. And so we join yourself and our brother here in mourning this great statesman, this great son of this soil, who, as I said, served this country with selflessness and with distinction. We will continue to pray at this time that his soul may rest in eternal peace.
The passing of Mr. Musa Mwanamwambo has shaken not only the family, but all those who through their life were privileged to know him. I, in spite of coming from the same area as the judge knows, I was privileged to know him when he was Speaker of the National Assembly and I was a Member of Parliament. I think at the time, the amount of respect that he got from members of parliament, all sides of the house, was a clear indication as to how he ran that house. And before that, as we know, he held various positions, cabinet minister, and indeed a civil servant and a member of parliament for Lyon. In all these things, one thing that we notice is that he lived above board. I don't think there is anyone who can attach any scandal to Mr. Mwanamongo. I think he was a straightforward person, but not only was he straightforward, I think the development of the country was uppermost in his mind. I also happen to know some of the private aspects, very, very interested in tourism, wildlife. That's why I think Omlam here will attest to the fact that every November, that's what made me sad, because I know that we are coming in November. Usually you take that time to be in Liwa National Park. Okay. He was also a member of the board of Liwa National Park to help restore that particular park. So it's a tremendous loss. We know he was a retired speaker, but the wisdom that was inherent in the man really benefited all those that came to him for counsel, and there are many, many people who passed through this home for counsel. Now, speaking as someone from Western Province, I know that he was also a reservoir of knowledge in terms of the history of the people of Western Province, because many times we sit here and we talk about where people came from, who was the king and what happened at the time. He was very, very knowledgeable about matters that concerned the traditions of the people of Western Province. So it's an overall loss to everyone, to the country, and to all of us who were privileged to come across him. He will be deeply, deeply, deeply missed.
Thank you for still being with us here on Parliament Television as we await for the Valedictory service in honor and memory of the late Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwamba, former Speaker of the National Assembly, who passed away on the 21st of October and is going to be put to rest today, Tuesday, 31st October. And so today, 31st October, is a day of national mourning. President Hakainde Hichilema has declared this day a day of national mourning in honor of the late Right Honorable former Speaker of the National Assembly, Mwanamongo. And so he has been accorded a state funeral.
I've just been showing you and sharing with you some of the people that interacted with the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwamba. We did see in that clip the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Patrick Matibini, and also the Minister of Infrastructure and Urban Development, Honorable Charles Miyutu, and former clerk of the National Assembly, that's Mr. Milupi, I beg your pardon, and former clerk of the National Assembly, Madam Cecilia, that's Reverend Cecilia Mbewe, and the Deputy Chief Justice there, Justice Musonga, sharing his thoughts on the experience that he had with the former Speaker of the National Assembly, that's Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwamba, GCDE. And anytime from now, we'll be able to see the arrival of the Honorable Madam, 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 funeral cortege carrying the body of Honorable Musa Katunda Mwanamwambwa will be arriving at Parliament building. So there you have it. Those are live pictures coming your way from Parliament buildings. Members of Parliament just seated and just reflecting on the legacy that the speaker that we mourn today has left behind, and some of the contributions that he made to the National Assembly of Zambia. Earlier on, we did share with you some of the innovations that he implemented when he was Speaker of the National Assembly. He's a man that really loved nature and very easy to interact with. He would work in any office here at National Assembly, just interact with members of Parliament and just to appreciate some of the challenges that staffs were experiencing back then. And he also about the committee buildings here at the National Assembly, and this is where various committee meetings take place from. And the other thing, Claudette, that we should mention, and something that we can attach to his name, is the bringing of Parliament television and Parliament radio. People in Kalabo, people in Solwezi, people in Chadiza, people in Central Province are able to listen to the live proceedings, and this has also helped to take Parliament closer to the people and follow through the debates that their representatives are debating in the House, and some of the laws that are being passed are being followed by the people. So it was an innovation that was implemented by the Honorable Speaker that we mourn today, and quite a number of innovations that he implemented. One of them is the building of Media Center. We all know from the history that we were giving that he was a journalist, and he appreciated the work of journalists, hence bringing in of Parliament radio and Parliament television. And we've seen quite a number of parliaments across the region emulating what Zambia is doing. We've had some exchange programs where staff from other parliaments in our jurisdiction in Africa coming to learn best practice on how they can implement radio stations and television stations at their respective parliaments across the continent.
Right, and so today we are bidding farewell to this gallant son of the soil. Most of the guests are already seated in the Speaker's Gallery and the public gallery. In the Speaker's Gallery there is the widow, Mrs. Catherine Mwadinafo Alongoa, together with family members and children. We also have former presiding officers in the Speaker's Gallery. These include the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Patrick Matibini, accompanied by his wife. We also have the former First Deputy Speaker, Ms. Namgala, and the former Second Deputy Speaker, Mr. Malama, in the Speaker's Gallery. And former clerks of the National Assembly have actually spotted Ms. Doris Mwinga. She once worked for the National Assembly of Zambia. Of course, we did have an interview with her. I'm sure you saw her say one or two things about the late speaker, because she did have an opportunity to work with him. And so as soon as the speaker's procession makes its way into the chamber, we'll have some speeches that will be made by the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Government Chief Whip, Her Honor the Vice President, the Right Honorable Madam Speaker, and after the speeches we do expect the House to adjourn for body viewing to take place. And so the casket will be taken to the main entrance of the chamber for body viewing, and the body viewing will be led by the Right Honorable Madam Speaker and other presiding officers in the following order. That's Her Honor the Vice President, former presiding officers, Honorable Cabinet and provincial ministers, the Honorable Government Chief Whip, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Deputy Government Chief Whip, the Honorable Patriotic Front Whip, the Honorable Independent Whip, and he'll be followed by Honorable Members of Parliament and former clerks of the National Assembly, and members of staff here at the National Assembly will also be given an opportunity to view the body of the late former speaker. And of course, after that, we do expect a live broadcast of the church service, which will take place at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross across Church Road, and that will be preceded by burial at the former speaker's farm in Palabana. So that's just a brief of what will be taking place any time from now. And so we urge you to stay tuned right here on Parliament Television and of course on Parliament Radio. If you're not able to watch these proceedings on TV, you could be driving somewhere. Just tune in to Parliament Radio and you'll be able to follow these proceedings live on Parliament Radio.
All right, you've just joined us. A brief background, a brief history of the Right Honourable Speaker that we are paying respect to. He was born in 1940 into a family from Imwambo in the Kalabo district. He did attend Mukola Primary School between 1949 and 1953, after which he was educated at Livonda Middle School, Lukona Upper Primary School and Mongo Secondary School before going to Munali Secondary School between 1960 and 1964. While at secondary school, he joined the Youth Brigade of the United National Independence Party, and after spending a year working as an information assistant at the Zambia Information Service, the Honorable Speaker enrolled at Middleburg College in the United States in 1965, earning a BA in political science in 1969. And later on in 1970, he was appointed information attaché in the office of the Zambian permanent representative to the headquarters of the United Nations, going on to becoming newspaper manager for the Zambia Information Services. In 1972, he later served as chief tourist officer and managing director of the Zambia National Tourist Bureau and earned a diploma in tourism planning from the University of Bradford in the United Kingdom. And after that, he joined a family business in 1987, becoming its executive director, and he became a member of the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy in 1991, and he was the MMD candidate in Lua in the 1991 general elections, which saw him elected to the National Assembly, and was later appointed Deputy Minister of Tourism in 1993 before becoming Minister of Sport, Youth and Child Development the following year. And later on in the preceding year, in 1995, he was made Minister of Legal Affairs, and in 1996 he was appointed Minister of Information and Broadcasting Services, and he became the government spokesperson. So that's a brief educational and career background where the Right Honourable, the former Speaker of the National Assembly, and this is the Honourable Musa Katunda Mwanamwambwa GCD has been before becoming Speaker of the National Assembly. So anytime from now, I'll be able to see the Honourable Madam Speaker's procession making way to the chamber, and the cortege carrying the body of the late Speaker of the National Assembly will be arriving at Parliament buildings, and that will signify the commencement of the valedictory service, which will be followed by the church service at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross here in Lusaka, where we do have our staff there. That's Pauline Monga and Julius Musumali will be on hand to give us live coverage from there. And after the church service, they'll proceed to the burial site at his residence in Palavana in Chongwe district.
And so, like earlier mentioned, and it's actually on the program, a number of speeches will be delivered or given here in the chamber by Her Honor the Vice President, Leader of the Opposition, Chief Whip, the Government Chief Whip, and the Right Honourable Madam Speaker. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to describe the man that we are bidding farewell today in different ways. And we are yet to see that happen right here in the chamber as soon as the valedictory service actually does start. And thereafter, the funeral is going to be taken to the Cathedral of the Holy Cross for the service and later on burial. As you might be aware, today has been declared a day of national mourning in honor of the late former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, who died on the 21st of October, and he's going to be put to rest today, Tuesday, 31st October. He did serve the National Assembly from 1998 to 2011, and earlier on we did show you some clips of him being elected here in the National Assembly. That was in 1998, and of course after that, him taking oath in the chamber, he was then taken to State House for the approbation That was in 1998. And we did see quite a number of familiar faces in those clips, courtesy of ZNBC, which just took us back and just tells us that history is actually very, very important, and it's always important to go back to history, because I think we are nothing percent without history.
Nothing
we
at
come
all.
from somewhere all the time.
Nothing at all, Claudette, and I know it's a somber mood, people are mourning, but it's also worth mentioning that we need to celebrate the life of the former Speaker of the National Assembly, and also appreciate the contributions that he made to the National Assembly of Zambia. The people that he interacted with have highlighted what kind of a speaker he was, and what kind of a minister he was before becoming speaker, and prior to this, we did have an interaction off camera with some of the people that did work with him, and the people of Liua as well. We know that currently it's the Minister of Finance and National Planning who's serving the people of Liua. But before then, the speaker that we mourn today did save the people of Liua as Member of Parliament before he was appointed to various ministries to serve the people of Zambia. And some of the contributions that he made here at the National Assembly, we keep on talking about this because these are things that are here to show for themselves, and the people at this particular time, even the current members of Parliament, are appreciating. We do have the state-of-the-art committee buildings where all facilities are just on point, and look at the beauty of National Assembly, and the current Speaker of Parliament, that's the Right Honourable Nelly Mut, emulating what the former Speaker left, appreciating nature. We've seen her going around the country planting trees, and she has also introduced Keep Parliament Clean, where staff are urged to maintain the sceneries of Parliament buildings, and also some of the beautiful animals that we do have here. We do have zebras here, we do have the impalas around Parliament buildings, the media center, the innovation of bringing Parliament radio and Parliament television service, so people out there will be able to appreciate what goes on in Parliament and what members of Parliament debate, more especially when it comes to committee meetings.
I'm just amazed at the fact that he served in different ministries. He was the Minister for Legal Affairs, Minister for Youth, Sport and Child Development, Minister for Information Broadcasting, Minister of Tourism, Deputy Minister of Tourism. It's just interesting. His CV is quite rich, and before he became minister in these different ministries, he actually did go to study tourism, for instance, and so that's why we kept on saying that it obviously became very easy for him to navigate through these ministries because of his background, where he came from. So that's the man we are bidding farewell today, Tuesday, 31st October. A valedictory service will be held in his honor. Of course, a number of guests that have been invited to this occasion are already here, including the family members and the widow, Mrs. Mwanamwambwa. So any time from now, we do expect the Speaker's procession. And there you have it. Good morning and pleasant viewing.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
And the sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace is Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise thee, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Honorable members and dear mourners, I have one announcement to make, and this is to the effect that I wish to recognize the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the family members of the late former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Amusa K. Mwanamwambwa. Among them are the following: Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, widow of the late former Speaker; Honorable Mr. Justice Melvin Sitwala Mwanamwambwa; Ms. Pelekero Mwanamwambwa; Mrs. Christine Nawa; Chief Alogoa; Mr. Herbert Alogoa Ikechukwa; Mrs. Gertrude Alagoa; Mrs. Alagoa James Ikechukwa; Dr. Kechi Alagoa; Mrs. Charlotte Mwanamwambwa Wright; Mrs. Ngozi Asinga; Ms. Adobe Mwanamwambwa. Honorable members, may I also recognize the presence of the following: the Right Honorable Dr. Moses F.M. Wetangula, EGH MP, Speaker of the Parliament of Kenya; Honorable Mr. Justice Patrick Matibini, State Counsel, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia; Honorable Honorable Catherine Namugala, MP, former Deputy Speaker; Honorable Chifumu Kingdom Banda, former State Counsel, former Chairperson of the Committee of the Whole House; Honorable Mwimba Malama, MP, former Second Deputy Speaker; and Mrs. K.K. Mwinga, former Clerk of the National Assembly of Zambia. Delegates representing the following parliaments: National Assembly of Gambia, Parliament of Ghana, Parliament of Kenya, National Assembly of Malawi, National Assembly of Mauritius, Parliament of Mozambique, National Assembly of Namibia, National Assembly of Seychelles, Parliament of Sierra Leone, Parliament of South Africa, Legislative Council of the St. Helena, Parliament of the United Kingdom, and Parliament of Uganda. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I wish to thank our guests for joining us on this very solemn occasion. I thank you. Honorable members, may I now request the House to be upstanding as the pallbearers bring the casket into the chamber and place it at the foot of the chamber. We may take our seats. Honorable members, we solemnly gather this morning to conduct the Valedictory service in honor and memory of the late Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly. The clerk will now guide the rendering of tributes to the life of the late former Speaker, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa.
Honorable members and fellow mourners, allow me to call upon the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Brian Munduwile MP, to come to the table to give his tribute to the life of the late Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa. Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, Her Honor the Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalumango MP, the Right Honorable Nelly B.K. Muti, MP FAPRA, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Malungo A. Chisangano, MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses F. Moyo, MP, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers, Honorable Cabinet Ministers present, Honorable Stafford Mulusa, MP, Government Chief Whip, Provincial Ministers present, Honorable Members of Parliament, and fellow mourners. On behalf of the opposition in the House, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to convey my deepest sympathies to the bereaved family and the entire nation on the death of Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, GCDS, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, who passed away on Saturday, 21st October 2023. Madam Speaker, fellow mourners, at the outset, I would like to mention that as the opposition in the House, we have received the news of the demise of Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa with great shock and a sense of deep sorrow. As others have said, the life, work, and influence of the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa had a far-reaching positive impact on the people, both within and outside the country. Honorable Mwanamwambwa represented the nation and our parliament at various parliamentary fora, such as the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, meetings and conferences, the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, assemblies, and many other similar meetings. His wisdom, great wealth of knowledge and experience enriched the contributions made at this forum. His contribution to promoting quality, diversity, and dignity in Parliament, both local and beyond, served to strengthen parliamentary democracy. Madam Speaker, fellow mourners, I do not wish to make a long speech. Therefore, let me end by stating that the death of Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa is not only a great loss to his family, but also to the nation and the entire parliamentary community. It is for this reason that the opposition in the House joins the bereaved family
and the entire nation in paying our last respects to a man who served his nation to the best of his ability. May his soul rest in peace. I thank you.
Madam Speaker, honorable members, may I now call upon the Honorable Government Chief Whip, Honorable Stafford Mulusa MP, to come to the table to deliver his tribute.
Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, our Honored Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalmango MP, the Right Honorable Nelly B.K. Muti MP, FAPRA, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Malungo H. Sangano MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses F. Moyo, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Brian Mundubire, MP, Leader of the Opposition, provincial ministers present, Honorable Members of Parliament, and fellow mourners, good morning. I stand here with a heavy heart to give a speech on the loss of Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly. Allow me to begin by conveying, on behalf of the United Party for National Development, and indeed on my own behalf, our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family, this House, and the nation at large. As the UPND, we are deeply saddened by this great loss to the nation. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, as Speaker, we in the UPND will remember Honorable Mwanamwambwa for the fair manner in which he treated us despite being in the opposition at that time. He was open-minded and diplomatic, in addition to being an accomplished adjudicator in the House. I'm glad to note that the former Speaker has left us a wealth of knowledge which can be accessed from the records of the parliamentary proceedings or others. These will be valued, appreciated, and serve as points of reference for many years to come. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, with the foresaid, let me take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to both the ruling party and the opposition for the unity that has been exhibited during the period of mourning the late Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa. As we mourn, however, let me request all of us to also celebrate his life for the invaluable contributions that he made to parliamentary democracy. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, in conclusion, I would like to reiterate our sincere condolences to the bereaved family and friends. We also wish them God's guidance and comfort in these trying moments. May his soul rest in peace. I thank you.
May I now call upon our Honor the Vice President and Leader of Government Business in the House to render a tribute from her seat.
Ms. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, the Right Honorable Nelly Butete Kashumba Miti, MP, Speaker of the National Assembly, the visiting presiding officers, Honorable Malungo A. Chisangano, MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Frank Moyo, MP, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers present, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Stafford Mulusa, MP, Government Chief Whip, Honorable Brian Munduvile, MP, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Provincial Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, fellow mourners, good morning. At the outset, permit me to convey, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the entire government, and indeed on my own behalf, our sincere condolences and profound sympathies to the bereaved family, the National Assembly, and the nation at large on the loss of our statesman, Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, who died on Saturday, 21st October 2023. Madam Speaker, as the House may be aware, Honorable Mwanamwambwa diligently served the people of Zambia in various portfolios. Allow me to highlight a few. Between 1991 and 1998, Honorable Mwanamwambwa held a number of positions in government, including Deputy Minister of Tourism in 1993, Minister of Sports, Youth and Child Development in 1994, Minister of Legal Affairs in 1995, Minister of Information and Broadcasting Services in 1996, Minister of Tourism in 1996, and Minister of Agriculture, Food and Fisheries in 1998. Madam Speaker, honorable members and fellow mourners, you may also be aware that I was elected first female Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia under the speakership of the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa. Therefore, I have a lot of fond memories of him. To me, and probably many others, Honorable Mwanamwambwa was a gentleman with exceptional personal and professional qualities, which enabled him to execute his role as presiding officer exceptionally well. As a deputy speaker then, I learned a lot from the way he executed his duties as a presiding officer. Madam Speaker, while we mourn the loss of such a gallant statesman, we pay tribute and celebrate a life that, in my view, was well lived. A life committed to duty in every capacity he served. To me, he portrayed such a character of service to man. He portrayed integrity. He portrayed sincerity. He was indeed, as others have said, a world of knowledge and wisdom. Anybody who worked with him, Madam Speaker, will attest to this, as you have heard those that have earlier spoken before me. He is worthy emulating. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, let me reiterate that life is indeed fleeting. However, a life lived to the fullest, as Honorable Mwanamwambwa lived, stays in fond memories of many. With therefore said, I would like to commend you, Madam Speaker, and the management of the National Assembly for organizing this honorable and befitting send-off for our departed statesman. I wish the family of the late, this House and the nation at large, courage and strength to bear this irreparable loss. but we must emulate him. My prayer is to emulate the type of leadership that this gallant man put up. He worked just as you saw him. He committed everything to his work. He did it with such integrity. He did it without question. That is the man who will be laid to rest, the one we send off now. Indeed, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you, Madam.
Lastly, but not the least, I call upon the Right Honorable Ms. Nelly B.K. Muti, MP, FAPRA, Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, to give the valedictory speech in honor of the life of the late Honorable former Speaker of the National Assembly. Madam Speaker.
Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, Her Honor the Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Narumango, MP, Honorable Malungo Attractor Chisangano, MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Frank Moyo, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers present, Honorable Cabinet Ministers present, Honorable Stafford Molusa, MP, Government Chief Whip, Honorable Brian Munduvile, MP, Leader of Opposition, Provincial Ministers present, Honorable Members of Parliament, former Cabinet Ministers present, the representative of the SADC Parliamentary Forum, fellow mourners. Honorable members and fellow mourners, we are gathered here today in this august house to bid farewell to the late Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia. Although the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2021 do not expressly provide for the holding of a valedictory service for a former speaker or indeed a former member of parliament, I invoked the provisions of Standing Order 239 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2021 to enable the House conduct a valedictory service for the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, in recognition of his distinguished and patriotic service rendered to this august house and the nation at large. Honorable members, fellow mourners, allow me to say a few words about the parliamentary career of the late Honorable Amusa K. Mwanamwambwa. The late Honorable Mwanamwambwa was elected to the National Assembly of Zambia as a Member of Parliament for Liwa Parliamentary Constituency in 1991 and held the position up to 1998, when he was first elected Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, taking over from the late Honorable Dr. Robinson Navuliato. Honorable members, during his illustrious career as Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa presided over this House with the utmost honor and dignity. I must mention that it will be an incomplete eulogy for the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa if I do not state the pivotal role that the late former Speaker played in the actualization of the parliamentary reforms. It was during his tenure as Speaker that constituency offices, Parliament Radio, and the construction of a new committee building came into being. The late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa also initiated the concept of the Media and Visitors Center, whose construction was completed during his predecessor, the Right Honorable Dr. Patrick Matibini, State Council. In a nutshell, the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa left an indelible mark on the reformation of the Zambian Parliament, bringing it closer to the people. Honorable members, fellow mourners, in the House, the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa will be remembered for his quest to improve the quality of debate, to the extent that he would at times suspend business of the House in order to orient members on how to handle parliamentary issues. The late Honorable Amusa K. Mwanamwambwa, even after retiring from the position of Speaker in 2011, continued to interact with the National Assembly of Zambia and always stood ready to render guidance whenever called upon. On several occasions, the late Mwanamwambwa was called upon to offer counsel to newly elected parliamentarians on the roles and privileges of Parliament, especially during the post-election seminars, in his quest to continue providing guidance for both presiding officers and members of Parliament in their work as parliamentarians. Honorable Mwanamwambwa authored the book, Mr. Speaker, making him the second former Speaker in the Commonwealth to publish a book. Let me also take this opportunity to state that the late Speaker Mwanamwambwa was very impactful in both regional and international parliamentary organizations, as earlier mentioned, such as the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, the Pan-African Parliament, PAP, and the SADC Parliamentary Forum, SADC-PF. For the SADC-PF, he was engaged as a resource person on various programs, especially those on model laws in the region, due to his rich and deeper understanding of the parliamentary procedures and processes. Honorable members, fellow mourners, on a more personal reflection with the departed Speaker. Immediately I was elected Speaker, I paid a courtesy call on him and continued to consult him from time to time on matters of the House. His words on speakership still remain vivid to this day of his burial. And I quote, "The hallmark of speakership is impartiality and integrity," end of quote. To date, these words will remain guiding principles for me as Speaker. Honorable members and fellow mourners, despite the many things that I have to say in honor of the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa, allow me to convey on behalf of the National Assembly, and indeed on my own behalf, our sincere condolences to the bereaved family and the entire nation for this untimely loss. Our hearts and prayers are with Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, the children, and the entire family. May the soul of the departed rest in eternal peace. Go well, Mutompei. Fare thee well, Mukurange. Fare thee well, Mr. Speaker. I thank you. Honorable members, to mark the close of the valedictory service, the casket will be taken to the main entrance. After the adjournment of the House, board viewing will be conducted in the following order. The Honorable Madam Speaker and other presiding officers, Her Honor the Vice President, former presiding officers, cabinet and provincial ministers, the government chief whip, the leader of opposition, the patriotic front whip, the whip for independence, members of parliament starting with those in the outermost seats, assisted by the chamber assistants, former clerks of the National Assembly of Zambia. Honorable members are reminded that a bus will be parked at the library car park to ferry honorable members wishing to attend the burial. May the soul of the departed Honorable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa rest in eternal peace. The pallbearers will now take the casket to the main entrance of the chamber for board viewing. May I request that we all be upstanding as the casket is being taken to the main entrance.
There you have it. That note actually brings us almost to the end of the valedictory service, ending with a tribute that has been delivered by Madam Speaker, Right Honorable Madam Nelly Muti. Very moving tribute that the Right Honorable Madam Speaker Nelly Muti just made.
Yes, Claudette, and earlier on when the service started, Madam Speaker did recognize the presence in the Speaker's gallery of the family members of the late former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Amusa K. Mwanamwambwa, among them Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, widow to the late former Speaker, Honorable Mr. Justice Marvin Sitwala Mwanamwambwa, Mrs. Pelekelo Mwanamwambwa, Mrs. Christine Nawa, so as we are speaking, the pallbearers are just taking the casket outside the chamber where members of parliament will be accorded an opportunity to pay their last respect by body viewing, and the casket will proceed to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross, where the church service will take place, and I'll be able to share with you some of the tributes that have been made, beginning with leader of the opposition, Honorable Brian Munduvile.
We may take our seats. Order, honorable members. Her Honor, the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now Adjourned.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. The House has since adjourned. It's now time for body viewing, which will be led by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker and other presiding officers, being followed by Her Honour the Vice President, former presiding officers, Honourable Cabinet and Provincial Ministers, the Honourable Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, followed by the Honourable Deputy Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Patriotic Front Whip, the Honourable Independent Whip, Honourable Members of Parliament, former clerks of the National Assembly, and of course staff of the National Assembly of Zambia.
So there you have it. That's the Honourable Madam Speaker, the Right Honourable Madam Nelly Muti, paying her last respect to the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, followed by the first Deputy Speaker and the second Deputy Speaker there. And at this particular time, it is our honor, the Vice Republican President, who has just paid her last respect to the Speaker that she worked with, like you heard in our tribute, where she has described him as a man of integrity, and she did share some of the experiences that she had with the former Speaker of the National Assembly. At the time, she served as Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia.
So we have in our midst guests from parliaments across the continent, the world, if you may wish. That's the Parliament of Mozambique, Parliament of Seychelles, South Africa, the United Kingdom, the Parliament of Uganda, the Parliament of Kenya, just to mention but a few. And so the former Speaker actually did interact with members of Parliament and staff from these different parliaments. And so that's how come we have guests from parliaments of Mozambique, Seychelles, South Africa, UK, Uganda, Kenya, just to mention but a few.
We did hear, Claudette, from Madam Speaker's tribute, how she described the Speaker that we mourn today, that she had also to just invoke Standing Orders 239. We all know that the Standing Orders do not allow Parliament to hold a valedictory service for former members of Parliament and former speakers. But looking at the contribution the Speaker that we mourn today made to democracy in our country and also to the Parliament of Zambia, she thought it fit to invoke a Standing Order 239 so that at least the valedictory service can be held here at Parliament building, and also gave history, political history of the Speaker that we celebrate their life today. He was elected as a Member of Parliament for Liua in 1991 through to 1998, and some of the contributions that he made here at Parliament building. Earlier on we did highlight some of the contributions, innovations that he did. We do have 156 constituencies across the country, and these acts as bridge between Parliament, members of Parliament and the people that do vote to them. So he thought it fit to have offices where members of the public can go and present some of the challenges that are facing in various constituencies. So the constituencies that we've come to appreciate today and the roles that they play was a brainchild of the Speaker that will be putting to rest today.
And so in his tribute, the Leader of Opposition, Honorable Mundibile, did say that the late former Speaker represented the nation at various forums. These include the IPU, that's the Inter-Parliamentary Union, the CPA, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, just to mention but a few. The leader of opposition did say that Speaker Mwanamwambwa did promote equality in Parliament. He did say that the late former Speaker's contributions to the work of Parliament will be cherished and greatly missed. We also did have a tribute from the government chief whip, Honorable Mulusa, who did say that the time that the Speaker was serving as Speaker of the National Assembly from 1998 to 2011, he treated the opposition in a fair manner, a gesture which the opposition then did appreciate. And so the government chief whip did thank the ruling party and the opposition for the unity that has been exhibited during this morning period.
And Claudia, just from what the government chief whip talked about, this one resonates well to the last tribute that Madam Speaker made, the last line that he made, that one of the lines in his book, The Speaker, is where he says speakership is all about impartiality. Looking at what these different people that interacted with the former speaker at different levels have been talking about. It's just talking about impartiality, just like what the chief whip, government chief whip, highlighted. And some of things that were highlighted by Madam Speaker, a pivotal role that he played when he was Speaker of the National Assembly. One thing that really struck my mind when the Speaker was giving her tribute is where the Speaker would suspend business and start orienting members of Parliament on how to debate, which shows how passionate he was about democracy and how he wanted the quality of debates to come from the National Assembly, where he noticed that members of Parliament were not following a procedure. He would suspend business, remove all media houses, and just have a lecture with members of Parliament. Hence, having him invited in 2021 when the United Party for National Development formed government and when we had a new parliament, just to come and orient members of Parliament on the procedures and parliamentary etiquettes.
Absolutely. Madam Speaker did say that the late former Speaker presided over the House with and the play a pivotal role in the actualization of parliamentary reforms. And of course, we just talked about it. He continued, even after retirement, he continued to interact with National Assembly on various matters. Her Honor, the Vice President, also paid a glowing tribute to the late former Speaker. She did say that the late former Speaker served the people of Zambia with diligence in various portfolios as Deputy Minister of Tourism, Legal Affairs Minister, Information and Broadcasting Services Minister, Minister of Agriculture, Food and Fisheries, just to mention but a few. And Her Honor the Vice President described the late former Speaker, Mwanamwambwa, as a gentleman with a professional quality that made him execute his duties very well. She did say that the late former Speaker portrayed integrity and sincerity, and he was worth emulating. So those are just some of the tributes that were delivered a short while ago.
Yes, and we do have the National Assembly choir. They just giving us some solemn music as we remember the late Speaker of the National Assembly, and members of Parliament have continued paying tribute to the late Speaker, and the body will be taken to, should I say, the casket will be taken to the cathedral, the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross here in Lusaka, where a church service is supposed to take place. And Madam Speaker, in her tribute, did say that Honorable Mwanamwambwa, he is the second former Speaker to author a book, and his book was entitled Mr. And he is the author a book in the region, and quite a number of people have described him as the man of integrity. We did hear from the Vice Republican President also acknowledging the efforts and the contribution the Speaker made towards democracy. And it is that during his reign as Speaker of the National Assembly, that's when the Vice President was, the current Vice President was elected as Deputy Speaker then.
All right, so the man that we are putting to rest today passed on the 21st of October 2023, and he'll be buried at his farm in Palabana today. He was born on the 15th of May 1940. He hails from Inwambo village, Kalabo district of Western Province. He started school in 1949 at Mukola Primary School, where he completed Standard 2 in 1953. He proceeded to Livonda Middle School, where he completed Standard 4 in 1956. He then moved to Lukona Upper Primary School, where he completed Standard 6 in 1958. The same year, he went to Mongo Secondary School, where he completed Form 2 in 1960, then enrolled at Munale Secondary School, where he completed Form 6 A level in 1964. Thereafter, in 1965, he went to Middlebury College, Vermont, in the United States, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science in 1969. And in 1975, he went to Bradford University, West Yorkshire, in the United Kingdom, and graduated with a diploma in tourism and planning.
And Claudette, he worked as information assistant in the Zambia Information Services of the government of the Republic of Zambia between 1964 and 1965. And before then, he joined a family business in 1987.
And so the body viewing is going on right here at Parliament buildings. The body viewing was led by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker earlier on, followed by our Honour the Vice President, former presiding officers, Honourable Cabinet and Provincial Ministers, the Honourable Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Deputy Government Chief Whip, the Patriotic Front Whip, the Honourable Independent Whip, of course followed by Members of Parliament, former clerks of the National Assembly, and we also have happening right now members of staff of the National Assembly saying goodbye to the man they worked under. And so must also mention that immediately after this process is done, the casket will be taken to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross across Church Road, where a church service will be held, and later the burial will take place at his farm in Palabana.
We do have invited guests and some of member staff of the National Assembly paying their last respect to the former Speaker of the National Assembly, and these are some of the people that worked with the late Honourable Speaker. And earlier on, Madam Speaker did mention some of the parliaments that have been represented here during this state funeral. We do have the National Assembly of Gambia, Parliament of Ghana, Parliament of Kenya, National Assembly of Malawi, National Assembly of Mauritius, Parliament of Mozambique, National Assembly of Namibia, National Assembly of Seychelles, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Legislative Council of St. Helena, Parliament of United Kingdom, and Parliament of Uganda. So these were represented here during the valedictory service, and I'm sure they will proceed to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross for the church service.
So I would like to thank you so much for having joined us here at Parliament buildings, where a valedictory service did take place here in the chamber. And we'll be joining our colleagues Pauline Monga and Julius Musumali in a few minutes from now for the church service at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross across along Church Road. And so from me, Claudette Sindaza Jonga, my colleague Paul St. Ndovi, and the entire production crew would like to thank you so much. Do be sure to join us at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross for the church service. From now, it's pleasant viewing, and God bless.